Hello and welcome to Dream Forward, a thought leader series hosted by me, Ozioma Egwuonwu, the creator of World Dream Day. Today, I have the wonderful, special, magnificent gift of having my dear friend, Dr. Delvin Solkinson, with us, the creator of Visionary Permaculture. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different ideas that delve into not only earth-based wisdom, but also how can we truly embrace the power of vision and the power of collaboration and connection and contribution to move our dreams and our world forward. Thank you so much, Delvin, for being here with me today.
Thank you. I'm really grateful. I really wanted to open with something about gratitude. And John Milton said, gratitude bestows reverence, allowing us to encounter everyday epiphanies, those transcendental moments of awe that change forever how we experience life in the world. So thank you, Ozioma. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to sow some dream seeds with you today, and grateful to all those dreamers and visionaries joining us all over the world to activate their creativity and passion to find new ways forward.
I love that. I love that. And so to get us started, let's talk a little bit about invitations, because I love to open up our conversation with the exploration of invitation, because every single one of us are being invited into a conversation with life itself, a conversation with how we show up, how we contribute, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about others. So, and also how we feel fundamentally, right, about our world. So I want to ask you, what was the invitation that made you say yes? I mean, what was the invitation you were responding to when you said yes to being with us here today?
Great. Well, Mary Oliver said, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And the invitation for me is to be even more of a designer and to empower other people to be even more of conscious, intentional designers of their lives, landscapes and livelihoods. And it's really an invitation to change and evolve and create something new. So I felt this was that opportunity for me, and the opportunity for me to invite others, into stepping forward into like a whole new realm of possibility.
I was going to say, I love that, a whole new realm of possibility. And when we think about the invitation that's being made for our times, what would you say that invitation itself is?
It's about becoming an actionary even more in our own lives, taking action. In permaculture, one of my mentors, Luby McNamara, says the key to manifestation is articulation. And furthermore, we're practicing manifestation through design and action. So we're dreaming and we're stepping into that dream and becoming conscious creators of our lives. So that's really what it's about. It's the vision, but it's really bringing it down to earth into action. So my further invitation for everyone listening is to really consider next steps, how to really be an active contributor to the life that you're living and to other people's lives, and how you can step even deeper into action, into grounding the vision into tangible, practical steps forward.
I love that, in terms of, again, because I firmly believe that what you just spoke into being, because that's kind of what has also informed the way in which I've not only developed the work that I do, but the work when I'm coaching and working with others, this idea that there is the vision, and then there also is the power of action. And when you bring vision and action together and begin to act in ways that are informed by what I call visionary action, that visionary action is a different type of action than ordinary action without vision. So tell me a little bit about the way in which, because when I look at you and when I follow your work, you are so prolific and you are always contributing and always creating new things and launching new ideas and inviting others to do the same. So can you walk us through what informs your own visionary action, and how did you basically get on this path of saying, you know what? I not only am enticed and intrigued and activated by these ideas within me, but I want to actually bring them forth into the world, because there's many people who have this potential and they haven't activated it. So tell us a little bit about your journey so others can be informed and inspired.
Well, I'll start with another quote. I do love the quotes. Anais Nin said, dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. So in permaculture design, which has been my field for 20 years, there's a lot of focus on creating upward spirals. And by taking action and celebrating small successes, celebrating each step along the way, we create a momentum, and we're carried forth by momentum, that momentum of our own action. So part of it's about getting started, because we can generate that momentum in our life where we're uplifted by our own small successes, and that pushes us forward to continue in that realm of manifestation and action. So really, that's how it was for me. I think there was a point I just started to move forward, particularly with a path of lifelong learning, studying with people like you, Ozioma, and many spiritual teachers and elders and permaculture pioneers around the world. I live and work at Cosm Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, and Alex Gray and Allison Gray are mentors of mine. And by continuing to take classes and to learn from people with more experience, I found that incredibly motivating and inspiring for me to move forward. So that's really where it began, when I was really young, starting school, and I never stopped. So I highly recommend, a meditation as part of the life design and the visioning of the next level, is to think, what are the next achievable goals for my education? What reskilling might I want to do to up my skill level? What classes or courses could I take that will support me to do goal setting and take action in my own life to manifest, the dreams and passions and the creative life that I know I really want to live? And just stepping forward into that creates a momentum that you can just keep riding forward. And that's the upward spiral that I feel we can all generate in our lives just by continuing to move forward.
I love that. I mean, what you're speaking about is an aspect that many people leave out, which is that it is a continuous journey of learning, reskilling, honing, refining, connecting with others, and it is never done. We are never finished. We are works in progress. And what I look and just, as I say, gaze upon you and your magnificence, that is what I appreciate so much. And that's why I'm so honored to call you a dear friend, also a guide, a mentor, a collaborator, because you truly get what it means to be on an evolutionary journey, and your work reflects that. So tell us a little bit about your work with Visionary Permaculture, what it is, why you feel that it is a modality, a way of being, a way of working, a contribution that is important during our times, because I feel that way. And I would love for you just to share the brilliance of the work that you're doing with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored by this connection. Permaculture, for those that may not be familiar, is a toolkit for becoming more active and successful designers of your life. It's a toolkit that provides all these methods and processes for successful decision making, particularly in alignment with your higher values, caring for the earth, caring for each other, caring for the collective future. It's really seeing that, of course, we're already designers and we're already decision makers at all times. And we can take this to a deeper intentional step by writing it out, drawing it out, singing it out, using creative processes to really map and chart where we are now, where we want to be, and the steps that can take us from here to there. So in many ways, permaculture is about dreaming really big and then bringing these dreams down to earth into a series of achievable actionable steps. And the foundation, of course, is self-care and care for each other. So one of the processes, for example, in permaculture, that sort of is a driver for design is, when there's a challenge or an obstacle, we start with the ultimate design. We start with the biggest possible vision for how we can overcome it and how we can move beyond it. And from there, we move into a retrofit, which is really mostly where we are in design, is we're looking at, there's already a bunch of existing systems. How can we make changes to what's already here instead of just creating a whole new amazing thing? And then from there, we step into the quick fix, which is a short term, easily done, small step. And then our little quick fix, our in the moment response to the challenge or obstacle, is being informed by and moving towards the larger retrofit of our life or our home or our work. And that itself is moving towards and being informed by the ultimate dream, the ultimate vision that we have for our lives. And in that way, the small steps we're taking in everyday life are moving us more consciously towards these larger goals that we have. So the question for those of you out there is, really be, how can you dream the largest dream that you have and break it down into smaller goals? Maybe the big dream is a 10-year dream, and then you break that down into yearly dreams, and then you break that down into the next month. Like, what can you do? What skills do you need to get? What resources do you need to acquire? What people do you need to form alliances with in order to move forward? So it really is about cultivating skills as a designer. That's really what it all comes down to.
That notion of being a designer, being designful, design thinking, we know, brought forth in a big way through, firms like IDEO, et cetera. But this frame of design thinking and human-centered design, in permaculture, visionary permaculture as well, obviously, you speak a great deal about what it means to be in communion with the land, with the earth itself. We've read and we've seen and we know about this Anthropocene, right? And what's happening right now in our time. So can you kind of help us understand and deepen our awareness around what is truly happening during these times around the relationship between human beings and our earth, and what you see as kind of the essential shifts that we need to start making? And what is that larger dream that we can move towards as it relates to our relationship with the land that we live on?
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've just spent the last 16 days in stone circles and at sacred sites on my honeymoon in the Emerald Isle in Ireland, which has been an amazing source of nature connection. So I've been thinking a lot about this. One of my favorite writers is Rainer Maria Rilke, who said, if you stay close to nature, to its simplicity, to the small things hardly noticeable, those things can unexpectedly become great and immeasurable. I was talking with Mary Reynolds, the Irish garden designer, yesterday at her site in the Irish Forest Garden. And she was talking a lot about rewilding, which is one path to nature connection. And with the urbanization and industrialization of the world, there is this feeling that for some of us, we're not always as connected to nature as we could be. And of course, we're part of nature. We're not separate from nature, but there's something powerful that happens when we really tune in. And permaculture really provides motivation and encourages people to spend time rewilding, particularly in ancient growth systems. Just walk around. It's the ultimate classroom. Sit by a waterfall or walk through the forest, find the places, the parks and reserves and conservation areas and ancient ecosystems near where you live, and just spend time there. Just lay in the moss or the grass or on the stone. Also, connecting with natural time. There's something that Gregorian time has done, this artificial clock of months and days and hours and minutes has also created sense of separation. Here at my work at Cosm Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, we really focus on the full moon and the new moon, and recognizing those times, spending time out in nature, doing intention setting, whatever kind of ritual work feels comfortable during those times. And I've been really syncing up on a 6-week program, which is absolutely ancient and has been observed by all civilizations from the beginning of time, which is the wheel of the year. And every 6 weeks, there is a natural time occurrence which marks the turning of the seasons. Today is actually autumn equinox, which is so special that we get to meet, because today all over the world, people from all cultures and all through time have been marking this as a turning point in the seasons, where the day and night are in a symmetrical alignment. So part of it's about just spending more time in nature and getting connected with nature's cycles. Part of it's about connecting with nature's time and realizing that we're on a solar and lunar calendar, and we're also on a seasonal calendar, and those do not have a direct relationship to Gregorian time. So the question for all of you is, how can you sync up and get connected more to nature and its timings? To go a little deeper, of course, practically with permaculture, getting connected to the growth cycle by growing your own food, or even just supporting people locally who are growing food, is a really powerful way to get connected as well. So I encourage that type of radical relocalization of getting your food, getting any products, any services from people in your own community. And this will engender relationships, strengthen the local community and economy, and really connect you up with others around you in a powerful way. And really, community is what it's all about. And it's the reason for the success of nature is that it's an ecological community. And the reason for the success of us as individuals is because we are part of community and we can achieve so much more together. So particularly during these times, I encourage everyone to consider how to deepen and build and honor your relationships, participate in, even organize cultural events, skill-based learning, experiential education, volunteering, getting involved in a community-based project, sharing your gifts. That's really what it's about too, is how can you participate more in community?
I love that. Community means so much to me. Those who follow my work know that I had my own transformational community in a place called Newburgh, New York, the Newburgh Dream Center. And I still have so many fond memories of the work that we did there, and the work now that has gone from that local context to even more of an international and global context. And so, but the thing that people don't really understand is that community is not an easy thing to really, not only to create, but to also then cultivate and to nourish. And so you have been there, working and living and communing with Alex and Allison Gray at the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. And I've had the great fortune of, speaking and teaching there and seeing and witnessing the brilliance of that beautiful community. But can you talk to us a little bit? Because I do believe that in the future, we will see more and more of people intentionally coming into a deeper level of communion with one another on these different, sites. People are buying land. People are coming and buying buildings together. There's different ways in which community is rising in a big way. What are some key lessons that you have learned by experiencing firsthand what I would call a gem of a community that's existing and thriving in the world today? So just share with us some of your experiences, and what do you feel is special about what has emerged at COSM and what we can learn about it from the communal context.
Thank you, Ozioma. It's so inspiring to be with you today on celebrating World Dream Day and coming together in a new kind of community with people, from a distance as well, which is incredibly empowering. I mean, it's a new kind of community. And I was talking about relocalization and getting to know the people in your local community. but there's also something about finding like-minded people in the global community. I'll throw in another quote from a philosopher I love, Goethe, who said, "To know someone who thinks and feels with us, and who, even if distant, is close to us in spirit, this makes the earth for us an inhabited garden." And at COSM, we do a lot of in-person gatherings around full moons and new moons and solstices and equinoxes, and there's opportunities to come and dance and play together. This is how we were working in the past, but in the last year and a half, under this sequestration, we have opened ourselves up to more online community and cultivating connections with people from a distance, which has been incredibly rewarding. I'm sure there's people here today from all sorts of different countries around the world, and we will have more opportunity to meet in person along the way. And it's also a real incredible opportunity to realize ourselves as a global community, as a planetary culture. And through a lot of our podcasts and online gatherings at COSM in the last year and a half, we've begun to cultivate even more of a global network. And it's incredibly empowering because there's just a few of us, a few handfuls of us maybe in our community that really think the same way in our local neighborhood, but there's so many of us that think and feel the same way all over the world. And by connecting, we're becoming stronger. We're becoming more empowered. It's motivating, again, this dream to action sequence. It's motivating us to dream big and to take action towards the realization of those dreams, even in small steps towards these larger goals. So for me, this opportunity with you and connecting with dreamers all over the world is really an expression of this emerging planetary culture, which holds so much potential and is very strong and very powerful. And I feel it will unlock all sorts of potentials to address some of the pressing concerns, environmental, political concerns that we're all facing because we're all in the same tiny blue planet, and also empower us to really become even more successful designers of our own lives and our own local community cultures.
I love that. This, again, back to the nature of design, back to the nature of, dream to action. And one of the stages, there's a methodology that I teach called dreams to action. And it has those 4 stages of first being able to identify and connect with the dream, right? Then being able to communicate and declare it. And the 3rd stage of dreams to action is design. And then the 4th is do. And so you've really articulated and brought forth the importance of design, as well as the role that obviously action plays in this entire sequence, because you can't just have the dreaming and the declaring about, what I'm going to do, and then, oh, I've designed it, I have it mapped, but okay, I'm going to go back to sleep now. Okay, I'm going to not wake up and take action. Okay, I'm not going to make that phone call. Like, there's a lot of things that have to take place in order for the dream itself to become a reality. And so as we kind of come to the later parts of, I would say the last vestiges of our conversation today, I want us to explore the barriers that many people face, because very often we talk about it in ways where it's like, well, it's just this, then that. Come on, what's the problem? And people, including us, who are in the throes of this journey, know that it's not always easy, and that there are so many times when we face certain challenges that we have to be able to rise to the occasion and overcome. So I would love for you in our last moments to just speak into the challenges that emerge along the path and how we can meet them so that we can move forward.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big question. It is a challenge. There's so many challenges to overcome. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Dare to live the dreams you have dreamed for yourself." And it is a a will to power. It is a courageous step to step up to life and move forward despite all these obstacles and challenges that we face. And it isn't really very easy. I mean, I wanted to say something about one of my mentors, Luby McNamara, started a movement called Cultural Emergence, which is about supporting the creation of a regenerative culture for ourselves, in our personal relationships, for our communities, and for future generations. And she offers a toolkit that very much, I feel, has to do with stepping up and overcoming challenges. Cultural Emergence has 3 phases, and they have no particular sequence. But the first is called Challenge and Awaken, and it's sort of wake up and shake up. It's like the Matrix with Neo. It's really can be disturbing and can be uncomfortable, but there's something about waking up to the reality of our lives and of the challenges we face, and really like facing them head on and cultivating an awareness of them. And then the second phase is Move and Invigorate, which a lot has to do with taking action and like being proactive in addressing these challenges and, not shying away from them. And the third stage is Nourish and Empower, which is caring for yourself and others. And there's a movement that we have between these phases of challenging and awakening, and nourishing and empowering, and moving and invigorating. And there's a toolkit that goes with this. There's a set of principles, and there's a set of core routines. And these are tools you can use in your own lives, any day. There's a lot of them, but I could share a few. One is come into the light. Allow yourself to be seen. This is how you attract allies and build your life team, because it's not a journey to do alone. And one of the ways to address these challenges is to be on the journey with other people and allow yourself to be helped and ask for help and be a help for others. Another is anyone can raise the vibration, knowing that we're all capable of uplifting the situation, of unlocking the next level for ourselves and others. This is about being a solutionary and realizing that no matter how challenging the obstacles may seem, there is always a solution, and that solution is within our grasp. We are capable of unlocking the next level. And of course, allowing for the possibility of the seemingly impossible, keeping an open mind and heart, allowing ourselves to step up to life and to remain open that things that we may think are impossible actually aren't. And so that we don't close ourselves down to the solutions, and that we can really become solutionaries in the face of all of these challenges. There's a few core routines as well that you can practice, and I'll share a few of those. One of them is pattern disruption. And this is regularly break patterns to stay open. I mean, it's great to have routines of health and well-being and comfort, and also disrupting those patterns is a way to stay open and to be open to change and open to transformation, which I feel is really important on this wild journey. Connection practices we talked about a little bit already, different ways that we connect with ourselves and each other, and the natural world. And that can really be a source of strength and motivation. Appreciate and celebrate, celebrating our small successes every day with each other, celebrating each other's small successes too, and making life a celebration of the small and not just of the great, so that we're constantly generating momentum in our lives. Maybe we didn't conquer the big problem, but each step we took towards facing that problem is worthy of celebration, and that can really uplift us emotionally and fortify us in the journey. And finally, we've talked about it a lot today, but I love that Luby highlights it, Luby McNamara, in Cultural Emergence, is manifesting through design and action, taking that step into becoming more active creators of our life and more active participants in the lives of others and the lives of community.
Wow. Such powerful, powerful sharings that you've given us to reflect upon and to incorporate into our own lives. And so I am so, so, so blessed and grateful that we had this conversation. I know those who are listening right now and watching are just like, wow, yes, yes, yes. And so Delvin, Dr. Delvin Solkinson, creator of Visionary Permaculture, Are there any last words that you want to share with us as we close out today's conversation?
Thanks so much for this opportunity, Ozioma. One of my heroes is Marianne Williamson, who said, "A miracle worker is an artist of the soul, and there's no higher art than living a beautiful life." And you live such a beautiful life and have been such a font of inspiration for me. And I feel that my journey, and as inspired by your journey, and I hope that this talk today has inspired some of the dreamers out there to just consistently work to becoming better, improving ourselves, living up more and more to our higher values. So the question for all the visionaries and dreamers out there to leave you with is, what can you do to live an even more extraordinary life?
Thank you so much, Dr. Delvin Solkinson. It has been such a pleasure to spend this time with you, and just thank you. May you be well.